Central tech videos. In this video, we'll demonstrate how you can set up forward and reverse DNS lookup zones in your DNS server using DDI Central. Let's see how you can create a forward DNS lookup zone under a domain. We have a list of domains here. To create forward or reverse DNS lookup zones under a specific domain, click through the domain name. Then you'll see the domain open up to a list of records that can be configured for the domain. This shows the various types of records supported by DDI Central. We'll now target the forward domain name zilker.com. Both IPv4 and IPv6 address types can be mapped under this domain using address A records for IPv4 and quad A records for IPv6. To create the forward DNS lookup zone under zilker.com, we'll be using only A and quad A records. For a forward lookup zone under zilker.com to return an IPv4 response when queried for a hostname, you'll need to create an address A record. Go to the A record section, click on the blue plus icon in the extreme right corner. Then you will see the Create A page display on the screen. On this page, in the name field, you can enter the hostname, and then you can see the time to live value is predefined by default. You can modify this as needed, and then you can start adding the IPs for the A record for the hostname. Here I'll give you a sample IP address, and then I can click on save to save the configurations. Then you'll have to click save again to return back to the records page of the domain. Now the zone we've created is displayed over here. So you can follow the same procedure for creating IPv6 quad A records. And while adding the IPs, you can add as many IPs as you need to the list. DDI Central will load balance and deliver the IPs as a response on a round-robin basis. So by clicking on any A or quad A records already created, you'll be able to see the IP address behind that particular record. So when you click on John's A record, you'll get to see John's IP address. And when you click on any quad A record, so we have a quad A record for Jade, and when you click on this record, you'll get to see the IPv6 address behind that quad A record. Now let's see how you can create reverse DNS lookup zones for the already configured forward DNS lookup zones. Reverse lookups use pointer records, also called PTR records, under a special domain in address.arpa for IPv4 and IP6.arpa for IPv6. Let's explore how to create a reverse domain and a zone for an IPv4 address. Let's start with the IPv4 based hostname for John. Each reverse DNS lookup zone representing an IP address requires a reverse domain of its own network address. First, we'll add a reverse domain as per the normal procedure. Only the naming conventions differ when adding reverse domains and zones. To create a reverse domain for an IPv4 network address, name the domain that bears the network portion of the IP block in reverse, and then append it to the standard string in address.arpa. The forward zone for John belongs to the network address 7.7.7.0/24. So for the /24 address block, the first three blocks represent the network address. So 7.7.7 is the network address, and the reverse domain name is 7.7.7.inaddress.arpa. Within this reverse domain, create a reverse zone using the PTR record representing John's IP address in specific. So John's IP address is 7.7.7.19 and name it as 19.7.7.7 in address.arpa. So this is the PTR record. So this PTR record should point to John's hostname. This is the response that a PTR record should have. This way you can make a pointer record to accurately point back to John's hostname. Let's proceed with creating an IPv6 based reverse DNS lookup zone for Jade's hostname. As you can see, this is Jade's IPv6 address. This IPv6 address belongs to /48 address block. This tells us that the network address involves only the first three groups of the hexadecimal numbers. Now we'll have to create a reverse domain for this network address and create a reverse lookup zone using a PTR record specially for Jade's IPv6 address, and then point it back to Jade's hostname. So the unique part here will be in the PTR record name. So for IPv6 addresses, the process is similar to IPv4, but the notation and the domain used for reverse domains are different. The domain used for IPv6 reverse DNS lookup is ip6.arpa. Let's construct the IPv6 reverse domain name. So the IPv6 network address is reversed over here with each digit in the hexadecimal groups separated, first reversed and then separated by a dot. So this whole string should be appended to the standard reverse lookup suffix, that is ip6.arpa, which is according to the standard naming conventions. So let's create PTR records for IPv6 address of Jade within this domain. So to create a PTR record, you'll have to navigate to the PTR record section and then click on it, and then click on the blue plus icon in the extreme right corner to create a PTR record. So we have a PTR record already configured, so I'll show you how you'll have to enter the details. So we are creating this PTR record for Jade's IP address. So you'll have to take the unique part of his IP address and reverse it and separate each digit with a dot. So the unique part of his IP address was ABCD. So this has been reversed and attached to the reverse domain name. So this is the pointer record's name. And then this pointer record should hold the response of as follows, as shown in the screen. It should point back to Jade's host name. This PTR record indicates that the IP address should reverse resolve to the host name jade56789.zilker.com. As you can see, configuring the forward and reverse lookup zones requires high precision. Accurate setup for forward and reverse DNS lookups is not just about enhancing network performance. It is also about safeguarding against potential threats and ensuring compliance with best practices. With DDI Central, you have the right tools at your fingertips to achieve these objectives efficiently and effectively. As we wrap up this video, we hope you've gained valuable insights on setting up both forward and reverse DNS lookup zones using DDI Central. Thank you for watching. Dive deeper into the world of DNS, DHCP and IPAM with us and discover how to use DDI technology to streamline your network operations. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more insightful content from DDI Central.